the brutal murder of lawyer Willie Kimani, his client Josephat Mwenda, and driver Joseph Muiruri in the year 2016. Fellow police officers Cheburet, Morogo, and Sylvia Wanjohi, who are also found guilty of the murder, were sentenced to 30 and 24-year jail terms respectively, while their civilian informant Ngugi, who admitted to aiding the execution unknowingly, was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Seth Olale followed the long-awaited conclusion to a case that has run under the glare of publicity due to the brazen way the murderers acted.
For police officers Fredrick Ole Leliman, Cheburet, Morogo, Sylvia Wanjohi, and their informant Ngugi, Friday the 3rd day of February was their day of reckoning.
The first accused is sentenced to death in each of the 3 counts. The death sentence in counts 2 and 3 are held in abeyance. Now the second accused is sentenced to 30 years imprisonment in each of the 3 counts, with the prison terms running concurrently. The third accused is sentenced to 24 years imprisonment in each of the 3 counts, with the prison terms running concurrently. The fifth accused is sentenced to 20 years imprisonment in each of the 3 counts, with the prison terms running concurrently.
Trial Judge Jesse Lesit took note of the murder plot that claimed the lives of lawyer Willie Kimani, his client Josephat Mwenda, and driver Joseph Muiruri in 2016, describing it as one that involved a high level of planning and organization, and which was meticulously carried out with the use of technology. She spoke of the aggravating circumstances that led to her sentence, pointing out that the brutality of the murders and the roles of each accomplice in the crime. Justice Lesit, a Court of Appeal judge who was promoted during the course of the case and allowed to conclude it, saying the murder was intended to interfere with the course of justice, was committed by a group, that the deceased was kept inside the boot of a car and were taken out one at a time to be murdered.
The deceased were kept inside the boot of a car and taken out one at a time to be murdered. The murder was executed close by so that the victims could hear the thumping and blows being inflicted and the screams and shouts or groans of their colleagues as he was killed. The fact each knew they would be the next to face the same fate, this must have caused them extreme fear, stress, and psychological torture, that is to the victims, as they waited for their turn.
The judge further noting that crude weapons were used to batter the victims. To create excruciating pain to the victims, the deceased were put in gunny and plastic bags and dumped into Earth River to conceal the murders and make recovery of their bodies difficult. The murders involved excessive use of violence on the deceased and caused damage to their persons, and that the first accused had a grudge against Mwenda and captured and killed Kimani and Muiruri as collateral damage. Justice Lesit saying Fredrick Ole Leliman acted out of self-preservation when he planned the murders.
The first accused, being a police officer who had been employed and paid a salary with public funds to protect life and preserve property, acted in flagrant abuse of his office and acted contrary to the duties and responsibilities he was employed for.
The second accused, former police officer Cheburet, Morogo, and his 30-year jail term for each count because he was Leliman's right-hand man. The judge noting that he bore no grudge against any of the 3 murder victims.
He stood by his colleague, the first accused, and stuck with him in every step on the material day.
In handing a 24-year jail sentence to the third accused, Sylvia Wanjohi, the officer in charge of the container, where Kimani, Mwenda and Muiruri were kept from noon to nightfall. The trial judge noted that the accused confessed to negligence while on duty and noted that despite her claims, she was a junior officer who followed commands that did not allow breaking of the law.
Her role was to keep the deceased persons at the police post, where she was the sentry and report officer, all the way until the time that the deceased persons were removed from the post and taken away to be murdered.
Police informant Peter Ngugi was handed the shortest jail sentence of 20 years due to cooperating with the police and prosecution.
He made a confession to the police, which I believe helped immensely in the investigation. It was his confession that shaped the investigations.
This bringing to an end 7 years of a court case that has become a key illustration of police excesses.
It sends a very strong message against police brutality, against impunity.
We can sigh a sense of relief. We can feel a sense of justice.
We have made 185 court appearances in those particular close to 7 years. And today we are happy.
The 4 convicts, through their lawyers, will have 14 days to appeal the verdict.
It should be beyond reasonable doubt. And if there is a doubt, the doubt must then be given to an accused person.
The prosecution produced a total of 46 witnesses, while the defense brought 36 witnesses during the case. Leliman has 2 other murder cases pending against him, one in which, alongside Leonard Mwangi, he is accused of murdering Peter Mutua Musyoka on June 2nd, 2016, and another case where, alongside Stephen Lelei, he is accused of murdering Jacob Mbai and Elizabeth Nduku in Mlolongo town on the 27th of May, 2016. Although the case implicating police officers in the murder of Willie Kimani, Josephat Mwenda and Joseph Muiruri has come to its conclusion after over 6 years, there are many other cases implicating police officers yet to be determined at the High Court. Seth Olale, Citizen TV at the Milimani Law Courts